Last week, I visited the IWM for the first time since 2014. Not only to visit the Second World War and First World War galleries, but the recently opened War Games exhibition was top of my list. The exhibit aims to show the correlation between video games and our understanding of real-world conflicts, past and present. The exhibit is laid out in a level-like format. Level 2, for instance, displays wargaming in its earlier forms, before polygons and gigabytes. There were board games and tin soldiers. I still think Battleships is a classic to this day. Level 3 explained that the UK is a nation of gamers, and that in 2021 we spent a staggering £7 billion on games. There was also interviews with leading psychologists and game developers discussing why war is a popular topic for games and why we play them. Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Arma 3 were used to show how games take us through a narrative based upon conflicts. There was great emphasis put onto player agency and teamwork within this section. On the flip side, there was a room dedicated to exploring the point in which games deal with violence and killing. I like the use of a pixelated Lee Enfield to show the morality of a player taking the life of a human or a robot target. Seeing what visitors chose to fire at was very interesting, as each player is given the choice to pull or not pull the trigger.
If I can't stop them, who will?
Introducing Battlezone, the arcade hit that's now an exciting new home game from Atari. The joystick puts you in control of your own tank. The radar screen helps you seek out the enemy. The action's so real, you just might forget it's a game. Battlezone, only from Atari.
As well as modern games, there was also an emphasis on retro games and their early depiction of warfare in the digital world. The 1980 game Battlezone by Atari was showcased. This first-person tank simulator was a big hit for Atari in the 80s, so much so that the US Army commissioned a version of the game for training gunners on their new Bradley assault vehicle. The Army's version of Battlezone was called the Bradley Trainer. The game switched the green lines for white ones, and the arcade version of Battlezone was made harder, and new weapons were added into the game, letting the would-be gunners have the opportunity to test their skills in a virtual setting before being let loose on the real thing. Only 2 Bradley Trainer arcade cabinets are known to have been produced by Atari. As well as showing these early attempts to mix video games into military training, the exhibit also showed off one of the modern equivalents used by the British and US forces. Virtual Battlespace 4, developed by Bohemia Interactive, allows its users to recreate any military training scenario imaginable. Military video games have come a long way since polygonal tanks in the 1980s. The biggest space of the exhibit is dedicated to 6 games and their individual representation of warfare. I enjoyed learning about the design of the street fighting in the upcoming game 6 Days in Fallujah. On the other side of the space, This War of Mine and Bury My Love show how war affects civilians and the struggles that living in a war zone can bring. This War of Mine is a fantastic game, and I would recommend it if you haven't played it. The final part of War Games is any retro gamer's dream, as there are playable versions of classic war games. Playing Desert Strike on the Sega Mega Drive brought back memories of sitting in my room trying to rescue all the downed pilots. Seeing the jump from the 80s to the 90s in terms of graphics and gameplay was great. From the janky first-person controls of Medal of Honor on the PlayStation 1 to the shoot-'em-up of Top Gun on the NES, I could have spent hours in here. War Games at the IWM runs through to January 2023 and is well worth a visit if you're in the area. It adds a unique insight into our relationship with conflict as a form of entertainment and a training aid for the modern military. Thanks for watching, and a big thank you to Sean over at Vacant Skull Archives for the gameplay footage. Check him out for all your retro gaming needs. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out these 2 here? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you again next time.